Anya, and there was something sinister in them that couldn't be explained in words. "What do you want from me?" she whispered, feeling her voice trembling. But the doll didn't answer, only silence filled the room. The next morning, Anya started looking for information about the doll. On the internet, she found mentions of similar antique toys associated with dark magic. She came across an article about guardian dolls that could absorb their owner's secrets and use them against them. The article said that such dolls cannot simply be destroyed. They become attached to a person, and you can only get rid of them with the help of a ritual to break the connection. To do this, it was necessary to find the person who created the doll, or its first owner. Anya remembered the seller. Despite her fear, she returned to the market where she had bought the doll, but in its place was only an empty tent. The seller's neighbors told her that the woman had left and never appeared again. Meanwhile, the doll continued to haunt her. Every time Anya was alone, she felt that someone was watching her. Strange thoughts sounded in her head, as if someone was talking to her. "Do you remember when you left her? She suffered because of you." Those words were clearly about her dead friend. But how could the doll know that? That night, Anya heard footsteps in her apartment. She jumped out of bed and saw the doll swaying and walking across the room. Her voice got louder. It sounded right in her head. "You've been hiding too much. It's time for everyone to know the truth." In desperation, Anya turned to Victor, an occultist who had helped her acquaintance with paranormal phenomena. Victor agreed to help, but warned, "This doll feeds on your guilt and fears. It's powerful because you give it power. If you want to get rid of it, you have to admit your mistakes and let go of the past." Victor suggested a breakup ritual. It required returning the doll to the place where the bond began, to the house where Anya had spent her childhood. Anya and Victor went to the old house where she had grown up. In this house, she and her friend played, shared secrets, and eventually had one last fight. Victor began the ritual. He lit candles, laid out herbs, and began to recite words in an ancient language. The doll lying on the floor suddenly came to life. It rose, its eyes lit up, and its voice became ominous. "Do you think this will change everything? I know everything about you. You don't deserve to be free." The doll started to move toward Anya, but Victor shouted the last words of the spell, and the shadow emanating from the doll was pulled back inside. When the ritual was over, the doll fell to the floor, lifeless, like an ordinary toy. Victor doused it with a special mixture and burned it. This time the doll burned until it turned to ash. Anya felt a weight fall from her shoulders. Despite the destruction of the doll, Anya sometimes hears a faint whisper in the silence. She doesn't know if it's a real sound or just her memories. A piece of porcelain was left in place of the ashes. On it was engraved the word, "I remember." Even though the doll was destroyed, Anya felt the story wasn't